Hey guys, thanks for tuning into the RoadMap podcast today. We've got a special and new guest, a new face to the team, Manuela Blagojevich. How'd I do?
Good. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was pretty good.
Love
Hi.
it, love it. Welcome
Yeah.
to the party.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
you coming here. You're all the way from Phoenix, right?
Yes.
And it's
Yep.
a little bit cooler here in Chicagoland.
Just a little bit. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I appreciate you making the trip, hopping on here while you're here. The goal today is I want to try to help people get to know you, and I think your journey has been unique to you, but also one that a lot of people have to go on. So I'm hoping that you can kind of share that with others, so I can learn from you, go on that journey quicker, and maybe if someone's wondering, hey, what are you doing? Why are you doing it? Maybe we can answer some of those questions too. So if we can start off, just tell everyone a little bit about yourself, a brief intro, 60-second bio of who you are.
Okay. Well, I grew up in the Midwest. I grew up in Iowa. We moved to the States in 1995 from former Yugoslavia because there was a war going on. Grew up there.
Do you have any memories from back then?
A
Because you would have
little.
been real young at that point.
Yeah, I was 5.
Okay.
So a little bit, thank God, not too much.
Yeah.
So yeah, grew up in Iowa, a small little town, and went to college there and everything. But I just didn't like the Midwest. It was just cold, you know.
That's fair.
After
That's fair. It is cold.
right after kind of traveling around a while, I'm like, I think I should see what else is out there.
Yeah.
I moved to Colorado for a few years, and then
Wait, I thought you didn't like the cold.
yeah, I don't know. I
Hey,
was
fair.
wrong, so I left again. And I saw a picture of Arizona, and I was like, oh, why not? And then I moved here during COVID, or moved there. And then I was working remote anyway at the time, so it just kind of worked out. I could be fluid with my job.
Yeah.
And then I was in sales at the time, got into real estate during/after COVID. And then
Interesting time to get into real estate for sure.
yeah,
Market was
well, it was
crazy.
booming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone and their mom was like, hey, real estate.
Exactly, yeah.
Love it.
And then I started doing this like a month and a half ago.
Right?
So,
It's
yeah.
like yesterday.
Right,
But also
exactly.
like last year too.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy how time works here. Awesome. So, moved from another country when you were young, Midwest, too cold, don't like that. Found Phoenix, you like that. You're doing some sales, got into real estate. Why not stay in real estate? Because there's a lot of money in real estate.
Yeah.
And all the avenues. So why not stay there? What had you even open or looking for other things?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think it was just being in sales before and just having like a high volume of clients, just how it operates and works and everything. I was just used to it, and going to real estate, it's just a slower sales process, slower cycle.
Yeah.
And
Like a culture shock.
yeah, like I was busy for 1 or 2 days, and then for 2 weeks I didn't know what to do. And it was just weird and awkward, and I felt I could just spend my time better. So
That makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah, I can see that too. It's interesting because we were just talking before the cameras turned on. We were talking about personality types and stuff. So it makes sense, right? If you're a perfectionist and you're always
Yeah.
looking to be going, if you feel lost and aimless and without a path, that'd be really frustrating
Yeah.
for sure. So you
Exactly.
started looking for something. You didn't have your sights set on anything though, or did you?
Well, actually, I was going to tell you the story about how I think Chelsea reached out to me and all that. I didn't really have anything. I was interviewing and kind of trying to figure out what's next. And I don't think I've told you this before, but the day that I reached back out to her, because she was reaching out to me, and I'm like, insurance, like, I don't even remember, like, applying for that or anything like that.
Like a lot of our leads.
Yeah,
I didn't fill
exactly.
that
Oh,
out.
jeez. So that day, I got an offer letter from Cardone Ventures from Grant Cardone,
Oh, sure.
and yeah, it was this like consulting position in Scottsdale, and it was like this great job and stuff, but it just didn't feel right. Something about it was off, and not from like a lazy way, like I didn't want to work that hard, but it was just like something deeper inside of me, and I'm
Yeah,
like, this
it
just
was the
doesn't,
gut.
yeah, it doesn't align.
Yeah,
So I'm
makes
like,
sense. Can we pause there for a second?
Sure.
Because so you're saying that we beat out Grant Cardone.
yes.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure that was on the record.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
that's fun to know. Okay,
Yeah,
cool. So the
exactly.
gut wasn't telling you that was the right move. You were like, let me look into this insurance thing a little bit more.
Yeah, I was just sitting at my desk, and I'm like, well, I guess I'm not going to do this. So then I responded to Chelsea's text, and like 10 minutes later, we were on the phone. So,
Love it. Okay,
yeah.
cool. What initially attracted you to this?
Um, like back in January, I had heard FFL just like in passing, or
Hmm.
I was, my friend told me about it, and then I looked it up on YouTube, insurance agents versus real estate, and what's
Yep.
better. And
Hmm.
the guy was like insurance all the way for X or
Okay.
A through Z reasons why.
Yeah. Was that
So
Andrew Taylor?
I don't know.
Tall white guy, brown hair,
He did have brown
black
hair,
suit.
so it could have been him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I know what video you're talking
Oh
about, where
wow.
he kind of
Okay.
lays out the
Yeah.
the pros and cons of each. And um, okay, so you were in real estate. You're like,
Hmm.
oh, this sounds better. They laid it out.
Yeah.
Okay, but you didn't
Hmm.
look into it at the time.
No.
Okay, so it was just sitting around back there waiting for the right timing.
Yeah. I
Okay,
guess. Yeah.
huh? That's interesting. I always love how timing works out, because this business
Hmm.
can be, someone can be a perfect fit for this business, but it's all about the timing.
Right.
And they come in at the wrong time, they get a bad experience. So,
Hmm.
so that's pretty interesting. So you heard about that earlier in the year. You're in real estate trying to figure it out. It's not going like you would want it to.
Hmm.
Feel the need for something else. You get an offer from Grant Cardone's business
Hmm.
to go work with him and his companies, but you're like, I want to pursue this a little bit more.
Hmm.
Okay, cool. What were some of the things that you would say are the main things that attracted you here versus a Grant Cardone versus a real estate?
Yeah, I think just being in real estate and being your own boss type of thing
Mm-hmm.
and working for corporate and other places, it's just, I know myself well enough to know that if I have full control of what's happening, I feel like I can do it better almost
Mm-hmm.
than maybe having somebody not lead me in the best way or things like that. And I knew I was capable after having that conversation with Chelsea. She kind of broke it down, and I'm like,
Okay.
oh, there's a lot of appealing things about it.
Love it. Okay,
Hmm.
cool. So the main thing that you were looking for was an independence.
Yeah.
Like you knew what you wanted to do and that you could do it. You just needed the right vehicle to get there.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly.
That's fair. Okay,
Hmm.
cool. So you came into this, we interviewed,
Hmm.
and you're like, yeah, let's do it.
Hmm.
How did the reality compare to your expectations? You get the license, you get through the onboarding, dial day number one comes.
Yeah.
How'd reality sit with you?
I definitely, you were like, this is going to be the hardest thing you've ever done.
And
And
you're
my
like, shut
old,
up, you don't know me.
right, yeah. Well, like my old job when I was working with investors, like that was really, it was just really high volume. It was intense, like mentally too. And I'm like, if I did that, how hard could this be?
Hmm.
I was so wrong in kind of like the best ways, you
Yeah.
know? So definitely a lot of mindset shifts very quickly,
Hmm.
realizing things or just being fluid and open to like being coachable
Yeah.
and training and listening to people.
Have you ever been mentored, coached, had to evolve at such a high level and a fast pace before?
Not this fast, no. Before I was probably like a year, like at my old job, spread out, you know, but not within less than 90 days, no.
Yeah, because you've been here less than 60 days at this point,
Right,
as far
yeah.
as
No, yeah, you're
talking to
right.
clients. Then obviously, if you count the onboarding and stuff, I don't count that. I
Mm-hmm.
say first day on the job is the
Yeah.
first day of clients telling you to f off. That's the
Yes.
that's the first day on the job in my book. But so we're about 6-7 weeks in,
Mm-hmm.
and you've seen very good success. Very good
Mm-hmm.
success. Most people take months and months to have a high bar that a lot of agents set in this business is helping 10 families in a week, right? Getting those
Mm-hmm.
10 policies. And you've done that now 2 weeks in a row.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not been all sunshine and rainbows either.
Mm-hmm.
So talk to people about that evolution that you've seen from getting smacked in the face with reality, thinking that, oh, how hard can this be? I already know what hard is, to holy cow, I wasn't even close. Most people run from that realization,
Yeah.
but you kind of leaned into it. Why do you think you did that? And then what changed as you were doing that?
It was a lot of things. I would say the main thing would just be seeing other people that were successful at
Mm-hmm.
it and just knowing like, okay, it's not impossible. Like it is, you know, possible for me too. And just going through it like day after day after day, just not giving yourself an out, you know? And after having, like, I picked myself up a few times, you
Yeah,
know, metaphorically, and that's great and fine, but it was all the people that poured into me, that spent time with me, and I'm
yeah,
like, now I really can't let you guys down, you know, even if they're not thinking about it that deeply, like, I care for
sure.
them, you know?
It makes sense.
So it was that too.
Nice. So it's a combination sounds like two things. First of all, it basically it boils down to if they can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that? Yeah, because that's how I viewed it as well when I got into it. And if we're honest, it's a pride thing.
Yeah.
Really,
Right.
that guy can do it.
Yeah.
I got this. Right, and so that's part of it. But that's good too because we are right. If they can do it, we can do it. But we're no better than them.
Right.
If a human can do this, because it's not a complicated business by any stretch of the imagination. It's very simple. You just have to be careful about conflating simple with easy.
Yeah.
Because most of the time, they're pretty synonymous when we use those two words. But here, they are light years apart from each other. So that was one thing that kept you going. And another thing was almost a sense of right. Like, hey, you've done this for me. I don't want to let me or you down. So I'm going to keep going.
Yes.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Nice. And you've seen some success. It's not permanent. We continue to have highs and lows in the business day after day, week after week. But what would you say has boiled down to, like, hey, I've seen bad days, bad weeks. I've seen good days and good weeks. Have you been able to form any kind of equation where, hey, if I do this, this, and this, that was a good week. This, and this end up being a bad week. Have you figured that out yet? Because sometimes it takes people, most of the time I would say it takes people a while to figure that out. Have you been able to put any of those pieces together?
It really is just like listening to you and all the things that you like tried to give advice on that you have to like, I'm like, okay, yeah, Matt, sure. And then I do the opposite and it totally backfires. And just realizing that, just if you were to follow the steps that you said initially, for example, like not having somebody to kind of lean on, but having them be in a positive mindset, not a negative one. So you're both not being dragged down.
Yeah.
Having leads, like focusing all day, not getting distracted, just all those little things working together. So
Yeah.
just following
That's
the
huge.
process.
I think, because I've thought about this a lot from conversations like this with new people and being here for a while, I've thought about it a lot. Why does everyone go through that journey? And I think it's pretty simple. I think it's because that doesn't exist in very many places. Most places, if they say, hey, success is this simple, just
Right.
do this, they're not telling you everything. And
Yeah.
so we get kind of hardened to that concept,
Yeah.
right? Like if someone's just crazy good at basketball, and instead of saying, hey, I've practiced every day of my life for the last 20 years, they say, oh, yeah, it's actually simple. You just do this, this, and this, and they don't give you the whole context. Oftentimes, you can get really disappointed or really burnt. And that happens in all areas of life. So then when people come into this business, and they're like, oh, okay, a roadmap, got it, okay. These people have all been successful, do what they did, okay, cool, but I'm missing something. There's got to be something that I'm missing, and so agents waste all this effort and energy trying to find that missing piece that doesn't exist. So you get pretty burnt out pretty quick looking for
Yeah.
it. Do you think that strikes true at all, or do you think it's been something different for you?
Yeah, I think it's kind of what you mentioned, the pride piece. Like you think you can do it better than whatever advice the person's giving you,
Sure.
even
Yeah.
though they've been through it way longer and you
That's
just
fair.
started.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, makes sense, yeah. I think pride can play a small positive role if you channel it correctly. How I've tried to channel that, because I struggle with that as well, it's, hey, I think I can do it better than them, but first let me mimic them perfectly.
Okay, yeah.
And then let me improve on it. And I think that's a healthier way, because sometimes it's hard to just get rid of that, right? For some people, it's just that pride is just so much a part of them. It's like their identity. It's hard to not do that because it's like, well, that's who I am. That's how I view the world.
Right.
So for those people, for myself, what I've had to do is like, well, I'm no better than them. I might feel like that. I'm not. But if I want to be better than them, let me learn everything they have to teach me. Get every ounce of wisdom I can from them. Do exactly what they do, because I know that if I do that, I'll at least see that level of success, which is more than I'm currently having. So let me do that. Then I'll go show them how it's done.
Yeah.
Because what you can do in this business is you can do that to everyone.
Right.
You can do that to one person, then you can go learn everything someone else has to teach you, and then you can become this really cool, like, Power Rangers Assemble version of all these people that have been there and done that ahead of you. Then you can stand on their shoulders. So that's something that I've learned in this business that's helped me a lot. Hopefully that'll help you a little bit while you're fighting that too. But that's a hard thing to fight. But I think if you channel it in the right way, it can help you out. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. It's just listening to, like, for example, like Ryan or David, or it is so much copy and paste, like
Yeah.
with Mindy or Christy or anybody like that. Just trying to find somebody that's maybe a little bit more like your personality,
Yeah.
just so it's easier. But it's definitely like going to work if you apply it.
Yeah, 100%. Love that. So appreciate you sharing your journey with us.
Yeah.
It's
Thanks.
I love telling people very early on in the business that a month is a year here in the real world because they never believe me. Sometimes they'll give me a pity laugh. Sometimes they'll be like, "Oh yeah, haha," or "Okay, whatever, that was weird," or whatever. But then a couple months in, they're like, "Oh man, no, that's it." Have you experienced that yet?
Yeah, it doesn't feel like I don't. Sometimes I'm like, wait, it's August? You know what I mean? Or I started like 45 days ago or something. Just because you do it, I mean, it's 10-hour days, six
Yeah.
days a week, and you're with the same people all the time, more or less, and you get to know everything really well quickly. And yeah, it just goes by so fast.
It does. The
Yeah,
days are eternities, but those weeks and months
exactly.
sometimes can fly by. So
Yeah.
that's one of the things I love about the business is you can level up so quickly. So quickly. Because while you're in the middle of it, it feels like an eternity. And is this ever going to get better? Am I ever going to help another family? And, all these different things start piling on. Then you look back and you're like, holy cow, I'm not even 2 months in.
Yeah, I
And it's pretty
know.
cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Do you have any parting shouts for or here? Let's talk about goals before you leave everyone with the thought. What at this point in the business and stuff changes all the time, but do you have any specific goals in the business looking forward? Whether it's helping a certain number of families, or whether it's building a business, or being a top producer, have you experienced enough to be able to set any kind of overall goals in the business yet?
I definitely want to, I mean, for month wise, like I want to hit 50. And
Yeah, not
then,
many agents do that. It's
yeah.
possible, but it does take a lot of work, so that would be cool. And you've proven that you can do it on a
Yeah.
weekly basis.
It's just so wild to me that not everybody does it because it's like, it's right there. You just have to grab it.
Join,
You know what
join,
I
join
mean?
the club. Hey,
But,
we could be here for weeks
yeah.
without leaving, pondering that mystery.
Yeah, yeah. But I think it would be really great to build a team. I just want to like have that success for myself first,
Yeah,
just as confidence that I can like bring other people on
hundred
too.
percent.
But yeah, it's just the growth you can have is so exponential. It's just up to you to like, do it. So
100%. You briefly mentioned there mentoring others and kind of paying it forward, but also building a business, and it all kind of goes hand in hand there. What type of person do you think would be most at home working with you here in this business? What are some qualities?
somebody that is like humble and hungry over in my head
Right,
now,
right.
just because I'm
You're
just
like,
like
wait, how do I
so
reword
used to
it?
yeah. Definitely somebody that's self motivated and that isn't lazy but can admit to when they are slacking off. I think just having an awareness of yourself is really important because you're gonna have days that are gonna knock you down, and taking a step back and looking at what happened, talking to you or, excuse me, your team, just to have people help point that out, so you can move forward in the next
Sure.
day. Just like the awareness and having grit, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny how many people think they have those things or maybe they're decent at them and then they come into this like, whoa, or it's a big reality check, and it definitely was for me. But that's awesome. What would you say is, I know it's hard to boil anything in this business down to one piece of advice, right? But if you can kind of look at the last 45 days of your time here, can you say, hey, this one thing has helped me out the most? And obviously it might not apply to everyone, but I think it can help everyone to some extent. Can you think of anything where you're like, hey, this main thing has really helped me get through it or learn or grow?
It's having days where like I'll shed a few tears at like 10:30 a.m. and
Yep.
then by 3 I've helped 3 families and my whole day is complete 180.
Yeah.
And that's happened a few times where I'm like, don't let the roller coaster take you away. Like let's figure it out, and it always can turn around. And I've heard other agents say that too, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. That's huge because most people at that 10:30 session,
Mhm.
they stay there for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
I'll come back at it tomorrow.
Mhm.
But that attitude in life prevents you from growth
Mhm.
because you're never pushing through to that next level. It's always, I'll come back to it.
Right.
So the days where you do push through, sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. But the ability to do that is what unlocks that 3 o'clock, 3 families helped type of a day.
Exactly. I think the feeling of actually doing, like pushing yourself is almost better than like not helping somebody, but like getting paid or something. Just knowing that you're capable of doing that
Yeah,
is such a good feeling.
100%.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more.
Hmm.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you being here with us. Enjoy the cold while it lasts, the cold 80
Yeah.
degrees
Yeah.
compared to your 120
I'll
back home.
try. Yeah.
But I always love getting together. Obviously, this is the first time we've met here this
Hmm.
week, and it's always a good time in a virtual business to be able to get together with the team and do some training and work together. So look forward to the next time, and I look forward to the continued story
Hmm.
and where you'll be in a
Yeah.
year or 2 or 3 when it gets to October.
Hmm. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
100%. Thank you everyone for tuning in. It's been another episode of the RoadMap podcast.